This this was the sound of high performance in the early 20th century, guys. Just a measly 20 horsepower. Might sound quaint now, but this was a revolution back in the days. I mean, it was a power that put the world on wheels, essentially. And this is what performance sound like today. Or maybe if you like EVs, it sounds a little bit like this. However, how on earth did we get from here to there? How did we manage to cram out power, more and more power over hundreds of, like we have more than 100 Model Ts on the one hood? It's an incredible story of engineering genius, guys. And honestly, it's driven by fierce rivalries and the human need to get better and the obsession of answering one simple question: how do we get faster? Guys, the Need for Speed is basically as old as car itself. While the first automotive from Benz, I think the Benz made less than 1 horsepower, right? I think it had less than a single horsepower. It didn't take long for them to change that. Like in the early 1900s, performance was all relative. The Ford Model T that we sound clip in the clip above, it had 28. I'm sorry, it had 20 or 28 horsepower, and that was in 1908, which was plenty to get you around. And but there was by that time there was no real need for more power, and because there was no real chase for power, and nothing was happening on the racetracks. But the first major leap we see, guys, that still dominates racing today is the invention of dual overhead cam. That wasn't until 1912, so it wasn't even that much longer. As you can see, like things are just moving along relatively quickly, guys. Peugeot rolled out its race car with a dual overhead cam, and that engine was a masterpiece. By putting camshafts right over the valves, the engine could breathe better and rev much higher. And I think the 130 horsepower that it allowed that car to output is impressive even in today's world. And the engine was not much bigger than the production one. So the road car, the race car was a true glimpse of what the future can hold. Meanwhile, back in America, guys, right around 1914, the Americans or Cadillac was doing a whole different project altogether. In 1914, Cadillac introduced the first mass-produced V8 engine. While the factory rated was just 70, it was probably less than 70, let's be real, in the real world. But it was smooth and it was a powerful design which laid the groundwork for, as you know, engines today. Like what Chevy is still using in the Corvette, or like Koenigsegg even used V8s to make extremely massively powerful engines. So engineers, they quickly proved that huge power was possible during World War One. You had beastly aircrafts like the Sunbeam. What was that? The Metal Belly. I think it was called Metal Belly V12. Yeah, that was turning out 400 horsepower. And in 1927, a car called the Sunbeam had 1,000 horsepower. And honestly, that wasn't a car you could buy. Like those two monsters was easily able to scream past 200 miles per hour, but it wasn't a car you could buy. Let's be clear about that. The horsepower chase though was on because the limits was quickly disappearing. So guys, after World War II, America was booming. I mean, gas was cheap, highways was being built, and this stretched across the whole country. And a whole generation of young drivers was itching for something exciting. And it was a perfect storm for Americans to introduce the muscle car era. Now, naturally, the V8 was the heart and soul of all muscle cars. And the strategy was simple. There is no replacement for displacement. Guys, there's still no replacement for displacement. But car makers like Ford and Chevy started stuffing the biggest and the baddest V8s in their in their cars. And it wasn't about like the Europeans was doing the sophisticated European engineering. No, this was just unadulterated brute force, guys. And by 1960, the American muscle car war, was at full swing. You could walk right into the showroom and buy cars with 300, 350, even 400 horsepower. Now, you can say those numbers are skewed a little bit for advertising, but yes, either ways, the power was real because names like Mustang, Camaro, GTO became true legend, and it was defined by the earth-shaking rumble and big block V8. So again, it was a golden age for glorious gas guzzling excess amount of power, and eventually, guys, that was going to come to a screeching halt. So, guys, we talk about the oil crisis that caused the muscle car era to crash and burn in 1970. Pretty much new in emissions, it strangled the V8, the big V8s at least. And the horsepower numbers honestly dropped like a rock. The muscle car was on life support, and it looked like the age of performance was, in all essence, it was over. But you know what they say, necessity is the mother of invention. Well, engineers couldn't build bigger engines, so they had to build smarter engines. They had to go the European route, essentially, guys. And if engineers couldn't build bigger engines, the answer came from a technological standpoint. They had to they had to go back to something that's been around since 1905. Forced induction. Guys, meet the turbocharger and the supercharger. Simply put, a turbocharger and supercharger are just air pumps. They compress more air into your engine, and more air lets you burn more fuel, and more fuel means more power. Guys, this is a total game changer. Suddenly, small efficient engines like V6 could suddenly be more efficient and push the same kind of power that used to belong to giant V8s. And brands like Porsche and Saab was leaders in this field. You know, we had the legendary cars like the 911. Not the first, but I would say they're pioneers when it comes to showing what the world could do. And at the same time, another key innovation that came to play was fuel injection. Still today, fuel injection is around and it replaced the carburetors. Essentially, what that allowed them to do, guys, is precisely spray. They give them more control over the power and efficiency by spraying fuel with precision. And forced induction along with fuel injection, guys, was the one-two punch that the industry needed that brought performance back and paved the way for the next massive leap. We still use them today. Guys, before we get into how computers change everything, if you're loving this trip down memory lane through the power history, do us a favor, guys. Hit that subscribe button because we are constantly breaking down the tech behind these amazing machines all the time, and we don't want you to miss out on some of the things we have planned for this channel. Thank you. The 90s and the 2000s, guys, introduced a new invisible hero, one you probably don't see when you look into your engine bay. Engine finally, for the first time, guys, got a brain. It's called the ECU, the engine control unit, and it can monitor and tweak everything. I mean, we talking about from your timing, your fuel mixture, all of that stuff could be done in a split second and with digital precision, honestly. And that technology that used to be fully mechanical, guys, is now done digitally. Technology like variable valve timing.
And it says, bah!
Now could be controlled with lightning speed, making engines more powerful. And the thing is, with variable valve, it could be powerful when you want it, but then it could be efficient when you didn't need the power. So you was raising both your efficiency and power. Who could say no to that, right? And this new level of computer control, plus the decades of engine progress that we finally been making, it pushed production costs to a number that would once seem like, I would say, I remember me, it was pure fantasy. 1,000 horsepower. And in 2005, one car didn't just come out and like hit that number. It broke it. Like the Bugatti Veyron, guys, remember that had the quad turbo, was it W16? I think it was W16, not a V. It was a W16 and it made 1,001 horsepower. And that car is capable of hitting over 250 miles per hour. Now, you can argue with me whether that was the first hypercar or not. Guys, I personally believe the first hypercar was a McLaren F1. I could make a video explaining why I think that was the first hypercar. But some people give that title to the Bugatti Veyron. But either way, however you look at it, that benchmark that is set was impossible to ignore. At the same time, guys, people was also making carbon fiber and exploring with lighter materials. So not only was cars getting more powerful, but they were also getting lighter. And obviously, this started a new era of electronically controlled horsepower with coupled with lightness. For a century, guys, horsepower was all about burning gasoline and how you could deliver your torque. You know, we're working with early delivery, things like that. But now, a new power source have entered the fray. It's called electricity. We first saw this potential in hybrid hypercars like the P1 and the Porsche 918. They use electric motors to give the instant torque where the engine would usually lag behind. And it created a feeling of just relentless acceleration while using high-revving engines, like in the Porsche. But today, guys, we are on a whole new level. 2,000 horsepower mark, another thing that was once unthinkable, is now a reality thanks to the two main forces working together. So you're talking about hybrid and electricity. I mean, just look at cars like the Camaro. It's a 4-seater, and in its most powerful setup, the company claims that hybrid can deliver a mind-bending 2,300 horsepower. Like, I still can't even believe that. I know we in that era, guys, but I still can't believe it. And again, from a 4-seater, and on the all-electric side of the equation, you have cars like the Navara breaking the 2,000 barrier at 21. You even have the regular Navara hitting 19. Let's just call that 2,000. And then cars like Lotus and Pinot. I'm not gonna say that word. It's a Pinot. I'm gonna put it up. I'm not gonna attempt to say it. But guys, all other cars are looking to blow past that barrier. Even companies like Lamborghini have announced cars coming to hit that same target. So it's not just about more power. It's a complete change on how power is actually being delivered with instant torque and then computerized computer controlled gas engine. Guys, we see how much control these companies have over the ECU. We see Koenigsegg completely remapping their car on the fly with over the air update. So the way power is being delivered these days is completely redone and revamped. So here we are, guys. A century of progress taken from a gentle charge of 20 horsepower all the way to a silent, brutal speed of 2,000 horsepower. Guys, it's all been driven by a cycle of non-stop innovation. We taught engines to breathe with dual overhead cams. We gave them brute strength with the V8 with bigger displacement in a compact format. And then we got clever with the turbos and superchargers. But then, like I said, we gave them the digital brain, guys. And now we supercharge them with electricity. We keep doing everything. We keep adding to them. And each breakthrough, guys, the answer is met with a timeless question of how can we go faster? It's just never enough. And so next time you see a performance car rocket past you, whether it roars or it whispers, guys, just remember the incredible story of how human ingenuity got us here. We went from 20 horsepower to 2,000 horsepower, and it's a journey that proves our desire for performance might just be one of the most powerful forces on earth. Not natural disaster forces, but you get what I'm coming with that. The only question left is, what's next?